Welcome, friends, to episode 11 of Easier Ways. My name's Randy, and I'm glad you're here. So, today's an interesting one, at least for me, and perhaps it'll be interesting for you too. So, I want to talk about things that I've accepted that have allowed for my healing, or maybe I've healed in a way that allows for me to be a little more accepting. So, that being said, let's do the screen share thing. There we go. All righty. Of course, if you're just listening in, you're probably wondering what I just popped up on the screen to share. And that's okay. We're going to go through this line by line. So I guess I should probably talk a little bit first, though, about the backstory of this. As you may know, it's at the time of this recording, I've got a little over 16 years of continuous sobriety. And I found to be the means for not needing any type of chemical in my system to feel okay has a lot to do with acceptance. If you're in a 12-step recovery group, you may be familiar with that. There is, a basic paradigm that acceptance is the key. Now, I'm not going to go through and try to quote that and such, but basically in this context I'm referring to here is that acceptance is exactly the opposite of denial, of resistance, of rationalizing, justifying, bullshitting myself about something. So that being said, I have learned to accept my past is my past. I can't change it, but I can heal it. So without going through my big long story, which I don't think you really care that much about and stuff, certainly not as much as I care about it. But there's a lot of stuff that happened that affected me in a way that I've carried through my life. So when I refer to healing, it's being able to look at those occurrences in the past, those memories, my interpretation of them, and the feelings that are associated with them, allowing to be present with myself and not try to control and calm them like I did for decades with the drug and alcohol. And for me to just accept a very simple truth is that, yeah, I wasn't responsible for what happened to me, other than the fact that I was there at the time. But most of this stuff is just, I was just growing up in a household that was far from the picture of mental health. I was growing up in an environment, not just in the household, but in my relationship with the authority figures and kids around me, and well, as I became an adult, the adults around me and such, that I don't know, I didn't necessarily have the responsibility of what happened to me, but I do have the responsibility today to strive to be able to accept this and to work through this and allow this to be processed in a way that I couldn't at that time in my life, to feel these feelings and to allow this to come up and basically not be as important as it once was. The past is the past. Okay. What happened to me? I can't change a single thing about that, but I can change how it affects me today. All right. Second thing here, some people may always be miserable. Okay. I have to accept that, there are some people in this world, and some that I care about very, very much. They're just miserable, as I was for most of my life. And no one could change me, not until I was ready to change. I'm not here to fix a single soul. And that kind of, fact is that, again, even really myself, I'm not even so much, this acceptance thing isn't even fixing myself. It's more just being present, allowing these thoughts and emotions to dissipate not to try to control and calm them, push them down and stuff. Well, the same kind of thing is here. I'm not trying to control other people. If you're miserable, well, I'm sorry that you're miserable. I wish you weren't miserable, but I'm not here to change that. My responsibility is not to make you no longer be miserable. All right, third point, having to heal from the same thing more than once doesn't make me a failure. So what I've been talking about here, again, being miserable, having to allow and process thoughts and feelings and such. Part of why this has been a challenge for me over the last 16 years is things come up that I thought had been handled because they weren't, I don't know, wrestling with me. I wasn't fighting this stuff. Yeah, I was accepting it more than I ever have in my life. But life revealed that there was some more stuff that needed to be processed over a very particular thing. And one of them is rejection, abandonment, and stuff, which again, I'm not going to go into all the details of my life story and stuff. But yeah, I believe probably my core wound has always been abandonment, rejection type of stuff. The people I needed in my life weren't available, which kind of comes back to the miserable stuff thing. And so my parents were very angry. They were very miserable and such. My whole household, myself, my sister, and stuff. There was a lot of misery in the Hayden household. And that's the past. It doesn't need to be that way any longer. But then that kind of cycles back again. I can't save anyone from themselves. Okay. Accepting I am not your savior. I'm at best a trusted friend, and I respect you and care enough about you to know that you will be able to do this when the time is right. And as you move through this, and again, how things come back and remind you that there's a little more effort needed, a little more feeling, a little more contemplating the past, allowing the past to be the past. You'll work through this if that's what you want, but it's not really, again, anything for me to try to save you from. And again, that also kind of means everyone won't grow with me. This has been a real difficult situation because there's some people that have been so instrumental in these last 16 years that have helped me out so greatly that as things just unfolded, and I don't really understand exactly what this unfolding is. I've just grown in a way that what was important to me then isn't important anymore. But these other people that helped me, they're at that point in life where they're just doing their deal. And it's not good, it's not bad, but I've grown at a different rate. And I don't want you to hear this as I've outgrown other people. It's just how I see myself and how I see the world and how I see each moment is different than it was in the past. And again, these people are still seeing themselves in the world at a way it did, say, 5 years ago. Okay, hope that makes sense. And because of that, yeah, as I've grown and I'm involved and I've changed how I see myself in the world and how I interact with it all, I've basically kind of come up with some guidelines, also known as boundaries. What is acceptable, what's not acceptable in my relationships? And some people don't like that I have this because, one, I didn't have them before. So when I tell people that I'm sorry, that's not cool with me anymore, they don't necessarily like it because, well, they got their stuff going on. They might take it personally. They may talk it the wrong way. I really try to be patient, kind, and honoring them. But yeah, sometimes it's misunderstood, misinterpreted. And I have to understand that's just par for the course. And again, I got to reiterate this here. I don't have to be the fixer. Okay. I don't have to fix this relationship. I don't have to fix you. I can be present. I can show up. I can be as true, as authentic, as real as I can be at this point in time. And again, I've evolved a lot over the years. What I thought was 100% authentic 10 years ago is definitely not the same as 100% authentic as I am today. Okay. But yeah, I'm not here to fix anyone, including myself. I'm just trying to be present enough for the natural evolution of what healing is. Kind of just, I'm no longer like using metaphorically. I'm not picking at the scab anymore. All right. If you've ever had kid, you fall, you skin your knees, you pick the scab and stuff like that, and it takes way longer to heal. Same kind of stuff here, emotionally, intellectually, and such. Yeah, I'm not trying to fix myself. I'm allowing the natural course of the healing that will happen if I stop fucking with it. Okay. And what's been a lot easier making, again, just in general, everyone doesn't need or want my input. I kind of alluded to this before, is I don't need to tell you my whole story. I don't need to give you all my thoughts and feelings in a situation. In some instances, some people, some relationships and stuff, people do want my input, but they give me consent for it first. So I'm, some people say, staying in my own lane, because I've done it both ways. I've imposed myself upon others, and there's other times where I chose to keep my mouth shut. And in all frankness, I've probably helped more people in the last 16 years more by keeping my mouth shut than giving them my 2 cents of how I think things would be better. And such. So, and a lot of that came from me understanding that, yeah, when people try to impose upon me, it didn't really help anything. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Same with you. Okay. So, again, the theme, is kind of this. It's not trying to be someone who's fixing things and make them the way that my mind, Randy's mind, says will be better. Okay. Now, so again, some people will not like me no matter what I do or say, right? And this kind of comes back to my abandonment issues, my situation that if I just behaved like more people would like me, okay? And ultimately, I want everyone to like me because, well, it seemed like a point in time, I don't think it was really as bad as my interpretation was at growing up and stuff, but I felt very, very much alone, and no one liked me. At least when I behaved in a manner that wasn't trying to, I don't know, put on a mask and act in a way that I interpreted as you wanted me to behave. So again, this is codependency stuff. But again, it's really a simple thing. If it's not personal, you can just say, it's like, of course, no one's going to like you every time. Okay. Not everyone likes everyone and stuff, but there's this weird thing that, again, there's an inner need to be approved of and liked when you have felt like you were unacceptable, unlovable and stuff. And again, it's just a natural need to want to have friends, and especially from people that you look up to and admire, to acknowledge and appreciate you. But we go about it in unhealthy ways, and yeah, it comes out sideways and it doesn't really work. So again, just me remembering this simple truth that some people will not like me no matter what I do or say. What I'm saying right now, some of the stuff might be coming off and you're disagreeing. You may not even like me. You may, again, heck, people already turned this off. I'm okay with that because I know that I'm speaking my truth. And if for one person this is helpful for it, it's okay for 9 people to not like me. Okay. A friend of mine with long-term sobriety talked about this one next point here. Time doesn't heal all wounds or pain. In about 10 years sobriety, he shared with me a simple truth. Randy, you probably have already experienced this. There are some things that are probably never, ever going to be resolved. You've made a lot of great progress. There are a lot of your demons that are no longer haunting you and such. But there's a very, very high probability, if not a certainty, that there are going to be some issues, some of these past experiences that will not be resolved. Okay. No, again, doesn't mean you just give up and stop trying to, I don't know, again, make friends with these demons and such. But accepting that there will be always something to work on for the rest of my life has kind of helped me, I don't know, again, accept that, that again, I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be striving to be perfect. In fact, almost like the whole fact that everything is imperfect is actually what perfection is, if that makes sense. That, I don't know, it's kind of nonsensical and stuff, but just the way the world is, there's a lot of stuff that you would prefer to be differently and quote unquote better. And especially when it comes up to the past, it's just not. The past is done. Okay. How you respond to it, how you perceive it, how it affects you today can improve, but there can certainly be some things that can come back and remind you that, yeah, there's still a wound with you. And as again, mine seems to be the abandonment wound, the core of not having people that I needed them, and the rejection and such when I asked for help. Okay. Coming back to, again, because I want people to like me, I want respect, I want to be able to, I don't know, be a good guy. I learned this simple truth: everyone isn't ready to change and grow, and that's okay. I kind of touched on this earlier, but I think this is something that is really important for all of us to accept. As much as you love and you care for them, again, whether they are in the middle of this journey of kind of working through past issues, they haven't even started, whatever, there's going to be people. In fact, I don't know, it seems some days that a lot of people aren't ready to change and grow. And all in all, that's okay. If I accept that, I can be at a lot more peace in relationships. What's more important? Okay. The relationship, or the fact that this person doesn't care as much about personal growth as I do. Okay. And then I've said this before, but again, I think this is worth repeating. If I have to force it, then it's not for me. Okay. That's just the simple thing about it. Again, I can be attracted. I can be towards a goal, something to accomplish. Kind of back to, again, someone wanting somebody to like me, and you don't like me. That's okay. All right. I'm not here to persuade you, especially when I was younger and dating and stuff, that this, I don't know, this paradigm and stuff that you have to win somebody's affection and convince them that you're supposed to be the right one for them to even just go out on a date with and stuff. I have to force it too hard? No. It's just not meant to be and stuff, and accept it. And then these last two things. Well, first, again, taking care of myself has to be a priority. For the longest time, there was a challenge with my worthiness of anything, I don't know, like love coming my way, because I thought I was a terrible person. I'd done terrible things and such. And because I've done a lot of selfish and self-centered things also, once I had the clarity of it, that selfishness and self-centeredness had been, and fears had been my primary motivations through life, that I wanted to do just the opposite of it. I wanted to be selfless. I wanted to take care of other people more than taking care of myself. I didn't want to be selfish anymore. Self-care is not selfish, and self-care is basically doing for myself the same type of things that I would do for somebody that I care about. I would want them to eat nourishing food, to be healthy, okay, to do things like get outside, enjoy life, just to enjoy life and such. So doing more of what makes you come alive, being with the people that are, I don't know, kind of just congruent with that and stuff. Those people that just seem to light you up, call them friends. Friends should be the people that you're, when you're around, you're glad to be alive. So taking care of yourself is spending time with your friends, and sometimes being alone and just being okay with yourself, making friends with yourself. And last but not least, loving people from a distance isn't mean. Okay. So again, taking care of myself sometimes means I can't be in a relationship with you. There are some people from my past, some people that were very, very good friends growing up that, again, without turning this into my life story and stuff, I'll spare you all the details, but it's just not right for me to try to continue on with this relationship. There's nothing really there, nothing I can bring to their life that they desire. There's nothing that they bring to my life that really again makes me come alive and glad that they're in my life and such. And frankly, it's not something that I ever wanted. But again, the theme of this, of accepting the fact that loving people from a distance isn't mean. I still care about them. I still love them. But we really don't interact and stuff. And then there's a lot of shades of gray in between those people that I do spend a lot of time and get love with. Yeah, there's some people that, yeah, we're not in each other's life as much as we used to be. The frequency and the intensity of the interactions and such, we're still friends, but it's a much more casual friendship. Almost, it's evolved into being more of an acquaintance than a friendship, and such. And I know I love them, and they've said that they love me as well too. But the whole thing, actions speak louder than words. We're just not as close as we once be. And I don't think they're being mean to me and I'm being mean to them. And again, it's kind of all this stuff I've talked about. We're growing, we're evolving, we're realizing what's important to us, what's not important to us. And most of all, again, this is about taking care of ourselves, doing what we can best discern, brings about the best quality of life. Okay? This acceptance stuff. This is really, really important for someone who wants to create a life they don't want to escape from. Okay. Because if I went through here and went through all these bullet points again and started talking to you about just the opposites of it, okay, like which the first line, my past is my past. I can't change it, but I can heal. If I did just the past of the opposite of that, yeah, I can change the past. Okay. But until I do, I can't heal. Again, that's just, even if I try to bring up just the opposite of that, that's nonsensical. Okay. It's just insane type of stuff. Even when we broke it down into like, I can't heal. Of course, if any human that allows help, that desires help and is eyes wide open to opportunities for some healing and such, again, it's a process. It doesn't mean all of a sudden that you're going to have one or two conversations with a therapist, counselor, if you're in recovery, a sponsor and stuff, that everything's going to be a-okay and resolved. But again, just a paradigm that you can't change, how you deal with the past, and such. If it's not personal, again, just a general paradigm in, again, just, can humans change? Can people change? If you're arguing with that, okay, back to, again, I accept that's the way you see things right now. But I think if you look not too far, probably, again, it's not that hard to see that there are people that have been able to change. And just because they have been with certain behavior patterns for a long period of time does not mean they will never change. Or I should say, again, they can't change. Yes, they can change. It's just, again, some people are not ready for it. Some people don't want it. And that's okay. And I have to accept that. And I hope you can accept that something I've covered here has resonated with you. You can see how this applies to your life, how this personally applies to you, some benefit. In future podcasts, we'll be having guests that will be dealing with this kind of stuff and how they've gotten through it in their own unique way. See, all roads lead to Rome. Okay. I have my story and what worked for me. Again, all these other people that they have changed and their lives are better now. The details in their story are their own, and that's metaphorically, they went their own different path. But the framework is always still the same, and it begins with acknowledging and accepting and getting into some actions that are the catalyst for change. So that's it. I've been talking long enough. Comments, criticisms, please put notes below this. You can always send me, some notes through the Easier Ways website and such if you want to engage in some one-on-one conversations about this stuff. It is my privilege, my pleasure to pay it forward. The people that have helped me see this stuff instilled upon me. This whole endeavor, this whole thing is a project, an effort, a collaboration with a lot of other persons to pay it forward. I am very, very grateful to have the life I have today. And I think you'll see in every one of the guests that are on this podcast as well, too. Somebody helped us. And if we can be the person that helps you make some progress, that's great. That's actually, again, there's some purpose and there's some meaning that my recovery has not been for myself alone. So thank you for listening and your share. And I look forward to seeing you again sometime soon. Until then, may peace be with you.